is fading. We gotta go. I'll get my car. Pull up mine. Yours. I gotta get me one of those.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bat Dan's Discussions. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about. DC Studios, does it have a future? Superhero fatigue, is it real? Is it happening? Is the DC Studios and superhero movies, are these franchises, these genres, are these in peril? We got a lot to discuss, and joining me today is TheCurlyRay. How are you, man?
Yo, what is going on, everyone? How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about this, excited to have you on this channel to discuss some of the shit that's been going on this year with this recently.
Yeah.
A lot to talk about. But do you notice my new hat I have? I haven't worn this on the channel before.
Yo, is that what I think it is? It's Netflix, the place where you can stream Rebel Moon at.
Yes, it is. Which actually, wait, hold on. Media assets. I want to. Sorry, I was gonna actually transition this better, but okay, there we are. StreamYard has so much stuff on there. So I was actually at Netflix recently, or the Egyptian Theater, or let me show you this. So this is the Egyptian Theater, a theater owned by Netflix. Me at the Netflix
Yo.
tour. And then Floyd actually took this picture on the back.
Yo, that looks dope. I love the top sign up there. It says Netflix. And I also love the shirt you're wearing.
Thank you. Yeah. And also, what up, Prime? And hey, TheCurlyRay, do you want to make this stream a musical?
Oh, absolutely, bro. We should, man.
Oh boy, hello Socks, how are you? How are you feeling this fine day? Let's sing a song for Socks Bulletins. Socks, how are you?
How are you doing?
And now, I also want to show this too while we're on this topic, but as you can see, look at that star.
Is that Man-Bat?
Close. Batman.
Oh, it's Batman. Okay, it's Batman. All right.
And not just Batman, but... oh, this one. Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman.
Yo, shout out to Gal Gadot, and I love the Netflix bag you got.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the gift bag they gave, or the bag they gave me for the Netflix hat. Socks. But they're not going to be. Musicals are great, socks. And what up, the Prime? And Dennis? So yeah, I just wanted to show that off real quick because, I actually went to the Netflix theater. Yeah, the theater. Yeah, forgot it. It is a theater. And went to the gift shop. I didn't actually go inside the theater because the theater itself was closed, but the gift shop was still open. And then had to show off the stars I saw because I had to. I mean, Batman. Come on, Batman had to see the Batman star. There was no way. And Gal Gadot, of course, we had to see that one too. But yeah, I just wanted to show that off real quick, and also want to give a shout out to you. 200 subscribers. Your channel your channel's pretty new, isn't it?
Yep, it is next month on October 5th will be the 1 year anniversary when one of my first videos released. Now, I released the trailer and the introduction video about like a year ago, but October 5th will be the 1 year anniversary when the first Rebel Moon Theory video dropped, and it was the one about the dreadnoughts.
Oh, nice. Nice. I can't wait. And I really like what you do with that channel because I feel like you bring a side to the Snyder fandom conversation that isn't talked about as much as Rebel Moon. I like that you have a whole channel dedicated to Rebel Moon, to one of Zack Snyder's other IPs. I think that's really important for the fandom, and I'm really glad you bring that voice to the fandom.
Yo, and I want to say thank you to everyone who not only has been supporting the platform, but for continuing to keep the conversation going for Rebel Moon, and not just Rebel Moon, Army of the Dead and Twilight of the Gods. Those are, I want to see Twilight of the Gods season 2. I want to see Planet of the Dead. I also want to see Rebel Moon 3, 4, 5, and 6. I want to see more Rebel Moon comics, more Rebel Moon games, more Rebel Moon animated series, which I think we do have the Cowley series that could be coming up. And I want to see more of this stuff, yo. I want to see more of this. And I also want to see Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3 when they premiere on Netflix, because that's where I believe they're going to land at. But just want to say thank you everyone who's been, supporting Rebel Moon and keeping the conversation going. And we're gonna continue having these conversations.
100%. 100%. I cannot wait to see where Rebel Moon goes. I know we are going to get 3 and 4. And yes, hopefully ZSHL 2 and 3 first, because that's what we've been waiting for longer. But after that, absolutely. We got to see more Rebel Moon because there's so much Zack Snyder has cooking with this. But we are going to shout out one of his other projects very soon. But first, before we do that, here, let me change the background back to Batman's Thoughts. But now we got to shout out the 1PDCU, the One Punch Man Cinematic Universe. Zod Writer's big project starring me, though I don't do any work for it whatsoever. And Zod Writer released a new clip, actually. Let me just share my screen.
Yo, thank you very much, Socks Man. Shout out to Socks Bulletins.
2026. Wait, was the screen actually being shared?
I didn't see it, nah.
Oh, okay. Hold on, guys. Technical issue. Technical issue. Let me try this again. That's the thing with StreamYard, guys, is that sometimes things don't always work out the way you want them to right away. So let me try this again. So the one that I tried to play was okay. So let me try this again. So okay, now can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good.
We can see it, but we can't hear it.
Okay, well. Okay, well, here, let me stop sharing now. Forget that Firefox is not good with that. But okay, so anyway, this is One Punch Dan. This is it's still sharing. I just turned off the share screen, but it feels like StreamYard is being very funky right now. Okay, there we are. There we are. Sorry, guys, technical issues right there, but so that's One Punch Dan. It's coming out 2026, and Zodwriter is putting a lot of really hard work into it. So I just wanted to shout out Zodwriter again because he's doing a lot of great work with this project. And as scary as AI is, wait, what? Wait,
Uh,
really?
I don't think so.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well. This is StreamYard for you people. This is StreamYard for you. Sometimes, things don't always work out the way you intend to when you go live. Anything can happen. But anyways, Zod's doing so much great work for this, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. He's really honoring our community with this project and giving us a lot of us roles in this. And as scary as AI is, and believe me, I have my reservations about AI. It's here whether we like it or not. So I say let's just have fun with it. But I guess TheCurlyRay, are you excited for One Punch Dan?
Absolutely, bro. This is going to be one of the greatest comic book movies of the entire century.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And just so you know, I'm checking my I'm checking my YouTube right now to see if it looks black and white on my end. Nope, I'm still in color. So I don't know. Must be you, Socks. But anyways, it is, and I think this is way better than anything Gunny Poo is doing. Way better than some of the recent Marvel movies that we've had out there. But is Socks just messing with me? I can't tell. Is Socks trolling me?
Hmm.
Is this something he would do since I've been teasing him about musicals this stream? But
It could be.
okay. Well, anyways, I'm really excited for One Punch Dan, guys. Check it out. It's a really great project, or it's going to be a really great project. And is my mic going in and out?
I can check.
Well, I'm assuming if you can hear me, it's not. I don't know if that's just Socks being Socks or if it's actually going out. I was saying lol after that, so I don't know.
It's
I'm just
normal for me, so
okay. I'm just gonna ignore any technical issues I see from Socks. But anyways, anything else you want to say about One Punch Dan, the One PDCU?
um, I think it's gonna be really dope. Can't wait to see what Zodwriter's, you know, cooking up because I know he's been cooking in the kitchen.
Oh yeah, that he hasn't. Okay, I figured. Okay, guys. Okay, so anyway, yeah, he is, and Zod. I talked to Zod personally a lot, and I can tell you, he's putting a lot of hard work into this project. So I'm really proud of him. I'm really happy for him, and again, I even have to tell Zod, hey, don't tell me this. I want to be surprised when I see the movie. No, 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 no. I don't want to see the ending to this movie. I want to be surprised when I see the movie actually come out. but he's really excited for it, and you all should be too. So check it out, 2026. This channel will update as more comes out. So I can't wait. And now, before we get into some of the shit that's been going on right now, let's talk about something exciting. Zack Snyder, The Last Photography. I guess TheCurlyRay, what was your thoughts when you first heard about this project?
So, from what I've read about this film, I really love, movies about mystery. Not to say that this movie is completely about like a detective movie, but I do love, whether if it's like a game or a show or a movie, I always like to watch shows about mysteries, about, maybe if I'm watching like Law and Order, even though it's like, a detective show. Um, there's a game I played recently called A Way Out. It is a two-player game where you get to play as these two prisoners, which I'm not going to spoil it because if y'all haven't played the game, it's really good. But not to get too off topic, but what I love about what I love about how Zack Snyder's doing this movie is that he's really going into different you know parts of genre where instead of like doing because we know we really love all of his action movies, but I think it's really dope to see him really like take an approach of other types of films. Like he's doing The Last Photograph, he's doing a boxing movie which is going to be Brawler, and he's going to be doing the LAPD movie, the SWAT movie that's going to be on Netflix. And it's really dope to see him go out and do these different approaches on film. And this one right here, The Last Photograph, I'm really excited to check out. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on updates for this film. I think it's going to be really good, and I cannot wait for it. And not only that, we also have um is it Martin Stewart or is it Stuart Martin that's in this movie? Because he was in Rebel Moon and he was in yeah, Stuart Martin. Yes, because he was in Army of Thieves and Rebel Moon. And we got Joffrey, aka Regent Belisarius, that's going to be in this movie. So it's also going to be really dope getting to see some of the Rebel Moon cast in this movie to see their like different performances in like Zach's films, because I know they've been in other movies, but it's great to see them, in other working with Zach with other projects outside of Rebel Moon. And I can't wait for this movie. I cannot wait for it. And what are your thoughts on it, Bat Dan?
I'm excited for it. So basically, I just wanted to kind of just go over the plot real quick. But yeah, the story is basically about an ex-DA operative looking for his niece and nephew and found the brutal murders of their diplomat parents. Okay, so this looks really interesting. And then a junkie war photographer. This is the kind of and then like here, like this junkie's the only person who saw the face of the killer. So basically, that's the long and short of it. But I'm excited for this. I really am. Like I'm not gonna lie, and this may get some. Yeah, see, like I'm not gonna lie. I'm an honest content creator, and I'm not gonna lie, and I'm gonna say something that may get some people mad at me. But when I first heard about this new project, I am kind of like, damn, that's another project that's further away from Rebel Moon 3 and 4 and ZSJL 2 and 3. Not gonna lie, but it seems like there have been some delays, so Zack Snyder might as well get out some of these projects in the meantime. But yeah, he is gonna be busy for the next 3 to 4 years. Absolutely. But it seems like this movie already started filming though. So so that's good at least. But but still, despite some of my reservations with that, I'm still really excited for this movie because the thing is, like Brawler, I'm going to see it because it's a Zack Snyder movie. But I never really got into the UFC or boxing, but I'm going to see it for Zack Snyder. This movie I'm actually really excited about because it's actually a very interesting plot that it looks like a very interesting plot to me, like one that I'm really excited to see. So yes, I am excited for this movie. I am really excited for this movie. I can't wait for it to come out, and I am hoping that we will be seeing some news about some other projects soon. Not gonna lie, and I know some people are commenting on this about what Snyder Bros aren't talking about, but still, any reservations with that aside, I think it looks like it's going to be a really interesting project, and I'm going to support my favorite director in whatever he does. And I think this will be a really great project. It looks really interesting, and as you said, I like seeing Zack Snyder reusing his cast, giving his cast more work. It's really nice seeing that because I think that's how a lot of directors are. They have a cast that they like, and what up, Skywalker? So, but I mean, hey, Sky, though, I mean, look, there's more Zack Snyder fans talking about The Last Photography. I mean, see that right there, right? I
You
know
got
that
Rebel Moon Theory talking about the last photography.
so yeah, yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna, this channel, it's gonna cover The Last Photography as more news comes out. Not really a lot to talk about right now with this, other than to say it looks really interesting. Glad to started filming, and I hope that these films get filmed and completed soon because I am not going to lie. I definitely want to see some other projects get filmed soon. Well, before the cast is too old, anyways. So, but still, overall, really excited for this. And any other final words, the Curly Ray?
Yo, definitely, I will say that I think with Zack Snyder doing these projects, I will say we still have to wait a little bit more on Rebel Moon, but one thing's for sure, we're getting more Rebel Moon because we just got a new Rebel Moon game that came out. We got a new Rebel Moon comic that just released, and from what I've heard, we're getting like a Cali short, or I've heard things about that, and we're getting Army of the Dead at Netflix House, and we're also getting Rebel Moon at Netflix House too. And it's going to be super dope. And I absolutely cannot wait for more Rebel Moon.
Neither can I. I'm really excited. And yes, Sky, I caught that. Thank you. Thank you. Glad at least got to catch that before this topic completely went off. So, yeah, the last photograph, not photography, but yeah. Anyways, Zach's getting more work, so there's a lot to be excited about as a Snyder fan. So support the projects, support everything that Zach does, and in time we'll get the other projects that we're asking for in time. But now let's get to some of the stuff that's less depressing. So this is going to be mostly from the DC perspective, but we do have to talk a little bit about some of the Marvel stuff on here because I feel like we can't really fully have this discussion without it. So let me just pull up some of the articles real quick that go over the box offices. But before I get into that, I guess the Curly Ray, what's your thoughts on the box offices that came out for these movies?
Yo, so I think for Fantastic Four, I will say it was. I could say that Fantastic Four turned out to be a box office success. There was a lot because I went and saw the movie. I saw it twice, and there were a lot of people in my theater, and I can really tell this movie really did resonate with a lot of people. Because even the way how the movie was, I think it was more. I think out of all the Marvel projects I've seen, because after Phase 4, I really kind of took a break on the MCU. I mean, I saw No Way Home. I've seen Guardians 3 and also seen Deadpool and Wolverine. And, out of all the MCU movies I've seen from then, I think Fantastic Four was the one I was taken the most serious. I think that movie was taken really serious. And it's crazy how Marvel is going really serious now. While you got Superman, that's literally a DC skin for Guardians of the Galaxy. That's literally what it feels like from all of the clips I've seen of that movie.
Yeah, I mean, so I did see Superman because, as you saw from my last stream, my dad made me watch it because he said I needed to review it for my channel. But just to kind of show the numbers real quick on both of those numbers. So you have Fantastic Four, which crosses 500 million worldwide international box office. Because, again, we're talking, global box office, not just domestic. And then you have Superman, which made worldwide. And again, you have to kind of when you go on Deadline, you have to kind of navigate the truth and the not truth. Like Deadline likes to not adjust for inflation and also likes to focus on domestic box office, because if they didn't, they would have to admit the film flopped. But anyways, 611.4 million behind Man of Steel, and that's without adjusting for inflation.
Yep.
So, and then let me just pull up some comments, but yep, exactly. Oh wait, this isn't the one I want. There we go. This is what I'm looking for, but yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. In terms of Fantastic Four, I thought the film would do a lot better in the box office. I mean, yes, it cost less than Superman, so even if it made less than Superman, that's a good point. I mean, I have a feeling that the budget for Superman is more than what's out there, but Superman flopped. I mean, if you look at Superman's box office, if you just go by their numbers, 225 million for production, 100 million for marketing, 325 million, and theaters take half. So right now it's made 611 million
And
or 11 point.
you want to know why I know the numbers for the amount of marketing that they spent on this movie is like over 200 million? Is because the marketing for this movie feels like it's been everywhere. Like they've literally been pushing this whole thing out, because even ever since when that first trailer dropped, because there were, I'm not going to name any content creators, but there were some content creators that I started seeing, like some, let's just say if there was like a gaming one where most of the time he's posting, games about an FPS shooter, and all of a sudden you're posting the Superman trailer on your platform. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that's so freaking weird. Why? I was like, so that's like if me, for example, if I run the Rebel Moon channel and talk strictly about Rebel Moon, and all of a sudden I post a Superman trailer, doesn't that seem like really funny? It's almost like someone is really like paying these guys a bunch of money to go out and promote this movie. I can tell, like, because all these other like weird platforms have been, it's like they've been pushing it. And it's not to say, it's a wrong thing for them to do that. I mean, if they're doing it for, some of them need to pay bills and some of them have kids to take care of, and that's perfectly fine. There are some people that, that may, promote it to maybe get paid to take care of the bills, and that's fine. But it continues to show that they have spent so much marketing on this movie. And for this movie to have high viewership numbers on that first trailer, how you get, let's just say if the numbers for that first trailer were real, even though we know that they were bought for, but let's just say if they were real, you get that much views and your movie makes only $600 million without even beating Man of Steel without inflation. That's less than Man
Mm-hmm.
of Steel. And the fact that y'all's excuse for the Snyderverse failing was because it didn't make enough money. Y'all said Man of Steel Man of Steel's box office numbers weren't that great because because it didn't make as much as the first Avengers movie. But you're saying that, oh, now it's okay if our movie makes less than doesn't have to make any money at all? That's something weird, bro, and that doesn't really sound good. So, and here's the other thing too. Let's just say if this movie, is really as successful as they claim it to be. How what's gonna convince me that the other projects that are coming out are gonna do good? Do I think they're gonna do good? After after this movie flopped, I I really don't know. I really don't think so.
Yeah, exactly, the Curly Ray. That's exactly right. I mean, the reality is, Fantastic Four made less than it should have. I mean, it's still, still, I guess, with the last budget, did better than Superman in that regard, but it was a great movie and should have made more, in my opinion. Should have made way more. And then Superman, yes. The fact that you don't have to adjust for inflation for Man of Steel to do better in the box office, that says a lot. That says a lot right there. It just shows, it's just part of the problem with the superhero genre right now, is that you look at that and it it shows less interest. And yeah, exactly. Supergirl and Clayface can make less, and then Clayface with no Batman, and we'll get into some of that a little bit later. But the reality is, the movie did not do well. I mean, Fantastic Four did not do as well as it should have done, and Superman didn't do what it needed to do. To justify going through the Henry Cavill situation, firing Henry Cavill after he announced he was back. Yes, firing Henry Cavill after you told him to announce he was back. It wasn't worth it. Looking at the box office alone, it wasn't worth it. But and then it's like, and then here's like, you were
Yep.
saying something about like the marketing too. Here's another thing that I suspect, and again, this is just suspect. This is not confirmed, but I'm going to mention these platforms because they're big enough that I don't really care. Like, I don't like to go after smaller platforms, but these two are big enough that I don't really care. How it should have ended and the pitch meetings. Like, how it should have ended. Again, I watched a little bit of their Superman, how it should have ended. They threw shade at Snyder in there. They did this with the Flash movie too. They were like, they had a whole thing about Batman v Superman, the Martha thing. I'm like, what does this have to do with the Flash movie, guys? You're obsessed. And then Screen Rant for their pitch meetings with Ryan George. Basically, do you know what the pitch meetings are, the Curly Ray?
No, you had to give me a little history lesson.
Okay, so basically the pitch meetings is, it originally was a channel on Screen Rant, but it kind of spun off into its own channel. But basically what happens is that there's like one guy named Ryan George is playing the guy pitching the meeting and the producer, and they make fun of the movie. Basically, they have stuff with like Home Alone, Star Wars, DC, Marvel. They do this for all the big movies. And then Superman, when that came out, they skipped Superman and they did revisit a Man of Steel. They finally did their Superman pitch meeting. I watched part of it. They still made fun of Snyder. They made fun of Snyder too. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I suspect that people are getting paid, because no one obsesses this much over a movie they just simply hate. I don't talk about Madam Web that much anymore. I don't talk about Batman and Robin that much. I don't talk about Wonder Woman 1984 that much. I barely even talk about Justice League that much, and that had a big impact. So why am I supposed to believe that the Snyder films were so bad that you just have to keep talking about them?
It's almost like they
So
want people to not like them, and everyone out in the real world ain't listening to these influencers.
exactly. And that's what's showing, that even after all that marketing, it still didn't do well. And the thing is, if they didn't spend that much on marketing, it wouldn't have even needed to do as well to be a success. Because again, what determines a film's success is its profit. So if you spend less money on it, it doesn't need to make as much money to be profitable. And also, don't forget, Man of Steel, Zack Snyder made the money back already for production with the product placement. So there's that. You got to factor that in too. So, and then, we got Rebel Moon theory on here. So I got to bring up this point. Zack Snyder, with a budget wise, made Rebel Moon a success simply by doing 4 movies, 2 studio cuts, 2 director's cuts on a $180 million budget, filmed back to back. So that is what Zack Snyder did to make those films a success. So therefore, they didn't need to do as well necessarily to be a success, yet they still did.
And something I want to mention too, because I want to go too off topic, but Zack Snyder liked the PG-13 cuts of Rebel Moon. I just want to let y'all know that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll never watch the PG-13 cuts again because now we have the director's cuts. It's like the same analogy I use with BVS Ultimate Edition, theatrical edition. It's like lobster. Would I rather have it with butter or would I rather have it without butter? I'm gonna have it with butter. It's still one of the best things ever without butter. But if I have the choice to have it with butter, why would I choose it without butter? That's basically what I think of Zack Snyder's studio cuts. It's basically just butterless lobster. So,
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with you, Sky man. Because the thing about the PG-13 cuts, they're the reason we got to see the director's cuts. And not only that, they were their best defense because we know that people were going to get
wait,
paid to go
what?
out and trash. Oh, really?
Let me wait. You're in Canada though, right, TJ? I think TJ's in Canada though.
Yeah, if it's let me see. You might be right on that, but I want to
But even if it's
see.
in Canada, that's still views for that's still Canadians who can watch BVS. Yeah, it's not in the US.
But hey, it's on Netflix. At least it's on Netflix in Canada. People watching it on Netflix in Canada, though. That's dope.
Okay. So TJ, make sure you watch it. Mama Bear, I know you're not in the chat right now, but when you're on replay, if you watch this on replay, make sure you watch Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition. Because for Cell to happen, it really helps to have the Snyderverse movies being watched on Netflix. So yes, but anyways, I'm sorry, TJ got me distracted, TheCurlyRay. But yeah, I agree. And again, you can have criticism of the Rubber Moon PG director's cuts. I'm not saying that. I'm talking, we're talking about like outright hating them.
Yeah, that's the
So
thing. Like, when it comes to me, I will agree. I do turn on the director's cuts most of the time. But the thing about it if there's a time where if I want to at least show someone Rebel Moon, they're not really a
oh,
big fan of.
okay. But still watch BVS theatrical cut because that's still Snyder's version. But anyway, go
Yes.
on.
Yeah, yeah, so I was saying like if I'm around like family members or if I'm at Netflix house where they're gonna be doing some screenings, hey, if it's the PG-13 cuts of Rebel Moon, hey, I would still like to have the experience of seeing Rebel Moon on the big screen there because I know they're gonna have a theater in there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And yeah, sorry TJ for misunderstanding, but still. But the whole point at the end of the day though is that Zack Snyder made it a success on less of a budget. James Gunn put everything in it, everything there, and it still flopped. Fantastic Four could have done better. And I still think I still don't think the box office of Fantastic Four First Steps really is really big in favor of superhero fatigue not being real. I'll say that. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but
Yep, exactly. Like that's the thing is there are some
what
people.
up, Zod Writer?
What is going on, Zara Ryder? How are you doing, bro? You cooking up with One Punch Dan, bro. But yeah, I was just saying that it's like they act like that. There are some people, and I'm not going to mention names, but there are some people that I see on the timelines. They'll be like, or at least I hear, some of them will be like, "Oh, Netflix, made Zack Snyder, release two other versions of his Rebel Moon movies." I was like, "No, he specifically said, hey." If I release PG-13 cuts, will you let me release my own version of the movie? And Netflix agreed to it. So that's what they went to. They were both good with that.
Yeah, and you know what? It's also more views. It's views for the PG-13 cuts, views for the R-rated cuts, so everyone wins. And the whole point at the end of the day is less of a budget. James Gunn had all this in a budget. It didn't work. So now at the end of the day, that film flopped. And even on digital, let me just show you a little something on digital. Now, it's hard to get the exact numbers for digital just because it's not like box office where like Warner Brothers will show that or like other companies show that because it's public. It's more public knowledge than the digital, which Warner Brothers has complete access to. But one thing I do want to point out with this, though, is originally this was like $30. They already dropped it down to $19.99, and they already dropped it down from the original rent to the original rent price. So you can rent the movie for $14.99 and buy it for $19.99, down from $29.99 and $19.99. So it hasn't even been on stream that long. It hasn't even been on digital that long. It was like what, mid-August? It was on digital.
Yep, it was mid-August. Hold up, I want to show y'all something real quick. Because, look, so they're going to really charge you around, because around the time when it was available on digital, they were going to charge you $24 to rent and $30 to buy. If I were to had to make two choices, whether if I had to pay $30 to buy that movie on digital or rent it for $25, why would I want to pay that much money for something where I can buy this, get these 3 movies for $40 on Amazon?
Interesting.
You can get this for $40. That these 3 movies are much better quality than this right here.
Oh, sorry. At the time, this is what you're pointing to, right? The banner. I changed the Zod's comment right before you posted, or right before you pointed. So.
Oh, it's all cool, but yeah, I just wanted to point that out because, yeah, I did this instead of charging over $25 to rent that movie. So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
Exactly, and yes, that's a good point, Sky.
Yep. And not only that, I did want to bring this up too, because Sky is pointing out something too, is you can't really market the director's cuts of Rebel Moon like you would with the PG-13 versions. Because the thing about marketing the PG-13 versions, you can have Lego figures, you can have action figures, you can have popcorn balls, you can have toys, you can have plush animals, you could have figure bags. You can do all of that because of the PG-13 versions. The reason why we have most of this merch is because of the PG-13 versions.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And in terms of Superman, though, just seeing the digital numbers not do, like, they already dropped the price. They're not confident. Like, here's the thing. Like, here's the point I like to bring up. Disney World. Disney World raised prices on their tickets because they saw people were going. And they still do it because people are going to the parks. People are still doing that. Why? Because people are going. Do you think, I guess TheCurlyRay, here's my question. If people stop going to Disney World as much, do you think Disney World would raise or drop prices?
They would drop them because that way it would gain more people to come into the park.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly my point. And oh yeah, thank you, Sky. Thank you for pointing that out. So, and yes, Zod. But that's exactly what I'm saying, though, with this whole point, is the fact is, it's not doing well because they're dropping the price. Why drop the price on something that's succeeding? Companies want to make as much money as possible. They don't drop the price if people are buying it. They drop the price if people aren't buying it. That's how business works, people. And that's why I also say, if you don't like Disney World raising the prices, stop going to the parks. Another little rant about off-topic rant, but that's kind of like, that's my point, though, is that it didn't do well because the fact is they're lowering the price. That's the reality of the situation. So this movie did bad on digital. It did bad in the box office. That's what happened with this movie. This movie was a certified flop. The movie that was supposed to launch their cinematic universe was a certified flop. And I'm saying this because I know Creature Commandos is technically the start, but James Gunn calls that an appetizer or whatever. So I'm like, you know what? We'll say this is the movie that starts it all. Also, it's kind of confusing because you have the Suicide Squad, which is half canon, and then Peacemaker, which is mostly canon. I'm confused. But this is the definitive start of the DCU. So, yeah. And it didn't do well. It did not do well. That is the reality of what happened here. And anything else you want to say about this before we move on?
I think I'm good.
Yep, we know. Yeah, I know there are a lot of. I mean, look, I don't agree with everything Disney has done. I literally complained about the parks like 2 seconds ago. But I'm not going to lie and say everything Disney does is bad. And
oh my lord.
But anyways, now.
Hey, I wonder why people are going to probably buy this.
Mm-hmm. I own it on physical media and on digital. But you know one thing I'm never going to get on digital or never see? Peacemaker Season 2. Now, for a little context here, I have to confess, I watched every single episode of Peacemaker Season 1. It was a guilty pleasure for me. At the time when it came out, I thought Zaslav was going to do right by us, and I didn't think James Gunn was a factor at the time. I thought James Gunn was a non-factor. I'm like, his movie flopped. Doesn't really matter about Peacemaker at this point. It's I definitely did not call him getting DC co-head position back when Season 1 came out. But even though I watched it all, it was bad television. It was really bad television. It was not what I wanted for the quality of DC. It was something I could accept when I thought we were getting other stuff, but it still sucked. I had the issue of James Gunn cutting out serious moments with comedy, unnecessary comedy, juvenile humor, and honestly, too, yep. I don't blame you, Zod. I don't blame you. But here's the funny thing, though. The Season 1, let me just show you Season 1 real quick. Just for context, have you seen any of Peacemaker?
I saw the very first, I want to say I saw the very first episode of Season 1. And after that, I probably never saw it again.
Yeah, don't blame you. Don't waste your time. And before I show these pictures real quick, I'd say I do not like how Gunny Poo did the whole DCU retcon thing. You know, basically the season finale of Season 1, you see Jason Momoa as Aquaman and Ezra Miller as the Flash. You see the Justice League. And then in the recap for Season 2, you know how they go previously on Peacemaker or previously on anything like in general? And I think that's where it was because I saw the new clip, but I think it was in that little recap thing. They show that clip, but they show the Justice Gang with Hawkgirl and Guy Gardner instead. So he's basically like, yeah, it didn't happen. Just here's this episode basically saying that didn't happen. I'm like, It's almost like if you were going to reboot, you should just reboot, not retcon, not try to keep your stuff canon. And I guess it deals with the multiverse, so they literally could have just had a Peacemaker hop a portal into the DCU, but nope. We're going to do this lazy shit, so. But anyways, look at this. The season finale numbers of Peacemaker Season 1. So this is according to Samba TV, 584,000 views who watched the Season 4 finale in its first 4 days streaming. Okay. Now let's get to the next step. Let's get to the Season 2 premiere. Hold on. Let me take this banner off real quick. So more households watched the first episode of Peacemaker Season 2 in the finale. Season 1 over the first 4 days. Okay, so let's do a little math right here. So this is 22%. 22% more than the band. Then hold on. Sorry. Here we are. Then this number right here. So we're going to do 584K and 22% more. So we're going to do a little math. I love math. So here is my calculator. This is a calculator. I'm doing the math right now. So we're going to do 0.2 times 584. Okay? So that gets me 116.8. So we're going to add that to 584. So that means Peacemaker got 700.8 thousand views. The season 2 premiere got 700.8 thousand views. And
It's almost like y'all don't really want to show the real. Oh,
oh, I'm surprised. I am really surprised by that, I say sarcastically. And
yeah.
oh yeah, that's a really good point, Socks. Like, okay, here's the thing. I'm not like against seeing sexual stuff, but not for the point of doing it. You know, not for the sake of doing it.
And the fact that this is coming out, like they're one to target this show for kids, bro. This ain't for kids, y'all. This ain't for
Well,
kids.
this show is technically not for kids. It's technically an M-rated show, but he's teasing it as the sequel to Superman and the prequel of Man of Tomorrow, which we'll get into a little bit later. And yeah, I heard about that again. I'm not following too much, honestly, but if that's really the case, that's just disgusting. Because they're on a world without people. Okay, first of all, that doesn't even make sense. I mean, I think evolution speaking wise, I don't think white people evolved first. I think people of color evolved first and white people evolved sometime after. I'm not totally sure on my history of humanity. So that doesn't even make sense for there to be a world without people of color. People of color came first. It's just stupid humor on James Gunn's part. But anyways, I want to kind of get to this point, the numbers. So 700.8K views. Doesn't that sound like a lot, TheCurlyRay?
It sounds about the same as Creature Commandos made, because that made less than 1 million too, around those numbers.
But you know what show did really well in its first episode? That's a DC show. Hold on, let me take the banner out. The Penguin. 3.2 million views. U.S. households watched the first episode of The Penguin on HBO Max over the first 4 days. DC Studios' biggest project that did well on streaming, and it's not even something Gunny Poo came up with. It was a show that was in development before DC Studios was even formed. The Penguin.
And
is a
really. I've seen all this show. I've seen every episode of this show, and I really liked it. I really liked it. And to me, it's no surprise that this show got the amount of views that it got, over 300 million. So that's pretty good.
You know, and that's a fair point, Zod. Maybe in execution that would have been good, but here's the thing. This is exactly right. I mean, I'll be honest with you, TheCurlyRay. I did not expect to like the Penguin. I didn't. I mean, I thought the Batman was okay. I kind of have Sky sentiment where I think I'm more excited for what's coming up than the movie itself. I think there is potential with that universe, but Matt Reeves needs some notes. I'll say that. Matt Reeves needs some notes. Not from Gunny Poo, but from other people.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Like, don't make it boring. You know, if you don't have 3 hours worth of story to tell, don't make it 3 hours. Okay? And I mean, I'll say this, even Zodwriter liked it. I mean, Zodwriter was like talking to me about how much he liked the Penguin. And I was like, okay, I better check this out. But that's the thing. The fact is, one of DC's most recent success was an Elseworld story. Was a story not part of the DCU at all. Creature Commandos didn't do well. Superman didn't do well. Peacemaker Season 2 isn't doing well. But the Penguin did.
Yep.
And it shows that there's story for the Elseworld, not the...
And that's the thing here, too. DC has always worked better with Elseworlds, not like trying to create their whole, like, lore, kind of like their whole universe like the MCU is. Like, they've always worked better with Elseworld stories.
Yes, exactly. I can agree with that. I can totally agree with that completely. So, yeah. But just at the end of the day, Peacemaker Season 2 didn't... Oh! And, you know, I can agree with that, TJ, but... Yep, well, what up, Sin Havoc, and... Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Matt Reeves showed support for Zack Snyder at least, so I feel like Matt Reeves would have had no problem greenlighting ZSJL 2 and 3 if he were DC co-head. So, anyways, hide that. But yeah, so overall though, Peacemaker season 2 did not do well. So now let's get into the excuses. Let's see, which one should we even start with? Superman not being a well-known character. They just needed to build the brand back. So they just need to gain some trust for the brand. Toxic Snyder fans. The politics with the international market right now, and people hate the United States. I don't know which one. I don't even know which one to start with.
Bro,
What are your thoughts?
you forgot the pandemic, bro.
Oh, you mean the thing that happened 5 years ago?
Yeah, that thing, because you can't use that for an excuse now.
Yeah, well, the thing I'll say this to TheCurlyRay, I did hear one thing about the pandemic. I heard that with COVID actually spreads 10 times more rapidly if you're watching a DC movie, and it's 100 times more deadly. But it only happens watching a DC movie, though. Okay? So just keep that in mind, especially if the director's initials are J and G,
Yo.
which I'm being
So,
sarcastic in case someone wants to clip me. Go on.
yeah, so here's the thing, Superman, like, the symbol is like one of the most, like, more recognizable symbols on the planet. Okay, in all the universe. All right. And
What's the one symbol that's more recognizable than the Superman symbol?
the cross. The cross is more
Oh, you mean
recognizable.
this is my old Bible from Sunday school. I wanted to pull that out to make this point.
Yep,
But
exactly.
that's really interesting. That's really interesting. So I guess he's not that unknown or that much unknown then. If that's the case, I mean,
And another thing is, they're still doing the same thing that they've been doing for the past nearly 10 years now, is blaming the Sire fans for this movie flopping. It's just like, first of all, what happened to all the other films after Black Adam came out? Like, I think if they would have continued with, if they actually listened to the fans, I think Shazam Fury of the Gods would have made more money.
yeah.
The Flash would have made more money. Blue
Mm-hmm.
Beetle would have made more money. Aquaman 2 would have made more money.
And some of them would have been better films if Gunny Poo didn't put his notes in. But anyways, get back to what you're saying.
Yeah, so, this whole thing, with the movie not doing well, I think it's just not doing well because you guys actually thrown down the fans so much. And they're just tired of this corporation to not giving what the fans really want. I think if you would have given what the fans have really been wanting, which y'all, continue to say that this universe is dead and all that, even though we're still getting merch. I think if y'all would have at least given what the fans want, then maybe these projects wouldn't be flopping. Maybe more people would at least be more willing to go check out these projects than they would right now, because what y'all have done to the fans by lying to their faces, stabbing them in the back, and continue to just, throw down the fans and not give them what they want. So, yeah, y'all can make up all the excuses that y'all want to, but the thing about it is, the film, if y'all don't give what the fans want, y'all's projects are going to continue flopping. That's all I can say.
Yes. Deadpool and Wolverine. Ryan Reynolds gave the fans exactly what they've been asking for. The film did well. Fans told the studios what we wanted. We wanted Henry Cavill back as Superman. We wanted Zack Snyder to finish the Snyderverse. You chose not to listen. And that's fine, and let me finish this before anyone gets mad at me. That's fine. That's absolutely okay. The studio has the right to do what they want with their IP, but they get to deal with the consequences of that choice. Okay? So yes, they can do what they want, but they get to deal with the consequences, good or bad. Fans told you, the paying customers told you what we wanted. You chose not to listen, and you get to deal with the consequences of that choice. Okay, so that's my whole issue with why I'm so tired of these excuses. And they say, oh well, they just need to get trust back with the fans. That's all. It will come back. With what? With Clayface? With Supergirl? Because here's my thing. Those films have to be an even bigger profit now, because now they have to make up for some of the money they lost with Superman. But not just that though. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, The Flash, Blue Beetle, Aquaman, and The Lost Kingdom. All those films flopped partly due to the reboot announcement, to being told these last 4 movies did not matter, plus Gunny Poo's notes didn't help either. Okay? Those 4 films failed. So now, here's the thing. You have to make up for those losses too, because that's what this reboot has caused. It caused losses. So why are you telling me that this film doesn't need to make money? That's stupid. That's ridiculous. Absolutely, it needs to make money. I mean, fans have asked for Man of Steel too. That would have gotten trust back with the DC brand. Your DC Studios is doing an Elseworld label. They could have filmed ZSGL 2 and 3 back to back and had that as on the slate as an Elseworld. Fans might have shown up for Superman. That would have regained trust in the DC brand. The Air Cut. It's an already filmed movie that people are asking for. Could have released that to gain trust with the fans. There's other things it could have done to gain trust with the fans than having a Superman movie flop. Because here's the thing. If this movie doesn't need to make money, then what does? When do you start making money? Because excuses don't pay the debt. Okay? Good wishes, Rotten Tomato scores don't pay the debt. What pays the debt is money. And Superman did not make money. That is the reality of the situation. So now the investors have to wait longer to make money. Now the people who WBD owe money to, they have to wait longer for them to get their money. And also, by the way, that tends to increase the longer you wait to pay it, not decrease. So just keep that in mind too. So no, stop with these excuses. Enough of these excuses. And we're going to hold on to that one, TJ, because that's actually another stream I'm going to do, because I have a lot of thoughts with that. Believe me, there's a lot of thoughts I have with that I need to rant about, but that's a whole nother stream, because if I tried inserting this topic in here, the stream would be 3 hours long. So at the end of the day, the movie did bad because it did bad, because they made a product that fans were not interested in. We asked for Henry Cavill to come back. We've asked for 6 years for his Superman to come back. You finally did it, and then you took it away from us. Okay? That is what happened. That is the reality of what happened. Because you have to justify that choice. You have to justify it making less money. Like, you have to justify not showing Henry Cavill Superman. Because I can tell you, that film would not have flopped. If we were getting Man of Tomorrow starring Henry Cavill, what the fan made for that sequel to Man of Steel before someone else hijacked that title, but we'll get into that a little bit later, it would have made money. Yep, exactly, Zod. Exactly. But that is the reality of this whole situation right now. So no more excuses. No excuses. The movie did bad because it did bad. Okay? It did. The film flopped in the box office. Influencers can try to make excuses for it, okay? It's not going to change the fact it didn't make money, okay? And when Clayface and Supergirl don't make money, I don't want to hear it, because it's just more excuses. And in terms of like Peacemaker and Creature Commandos, I've heard excuses of, well, those projects didn't do well because they're obscure characters. Okay, then why did you do it? Why did you do a project that you knew wouldn't have a lot of viewers? Like, that's the thing, TheCurlyRay. You know how they said that Superman isn't a well-known character? Let's just pretend that's true for a moment. Why did you do it then? Why did you do a movie starring that character if he wasn't well-known? Like,
Yep.
no one held a gun to your head and told you to do that. And in reality, too, no one held a gun to James Gunn's head, no pun intended there, and said, hey, you have to do Creature Commandos, you have to do Peacemaker. He chose to do those projects because, and if he's going to do those projects, he should be confident that they're going to do well, despite their low character status, their not as well known status.
Well, here's the thing too. People will be like, "Oh well, Guardians of the Galaxy did well, but they were unknown characters." I'm like, that movie, the first Guardians of the Galaxy, made money because it was already established in a successful universe. Because the last Marvel movies that came out before the first Guardians of the Galaxy made money. The first Iron Man made money. The Incredible Hulk made money. Iron Man 2 made money. Captain America, the first Avenger, Thor made money. The Avengers made $1 billion. Iron Man 3 made money. Thor the Dark World made money. Captain America, the Winter Soldier made money. So if those movies did successful, then Guardians of the Galaxy is going to do successful because it is established in a successful universe.
Yes, exactly. You have to earn your Guardians of the Galaxy moment. And it's funny because, like, I heard people were, and that's a good point too, Zon.
True.
But you have to earn that Guardians of the Galaxy moment, though. You have to earn that. And the DCU hasn't yet. Like, when I did my rant video back in 2022 about Henry Cavill being fired, someone tried to comment, well, don't give James Gunn a chance. He's good with obscure characters. I'm like, that's part of the problem. We're not, DC doesn't need to be highlighting the obscure characters right now. And I just want to address this one real quick. Oh, because Lobo, so Jason Momoa as Lobo, is the reason this makes money. So Aquaman and Lost Kingdom made $1 billion, right? Right?
The
Because
first
Jason
one
Momoa's
did, but
that.
the second one didn't.
Oh, so Jason Momoa alone is not a box office draw. Okay. And that's the case with any actor, by the way. Okay? Is that basically, lost my train of thought for a second. Is that, yeah, with any actor, is that even the best actor can have a film flop because if the movie's not good, the franchise not good, people don't want to see it. Okay? That's okay, so you can't just rely on an actor for a film to make money. Okay? The project still has to be good and yeah, and I agree with that, Zod. I agree with that. Even though I think Aquaman, the first movie, is not canon to the Snyderverse, it still had a lot of goodwill from Snyderverse fans.
It
I still
sure
think of
did.
I'll put it like this. I think of the first Aquaman movie is that if the Snyderverse and the Hamadaverse had a baby, you get Aquaman. Like, there's definitely some Hamadaverse stuff in there, but there's also some good Snyderverse quality stuff in there. So, but I've never seen that. So, point is, yeah, thank you. The point is, I don't need to hear excuses. One of my high school teachers had a saying: excuses are like armpits. We all have them, and most of them stink. So,
Yep.
and now Zaslav. Zaslav is getting shade thrown at him by John Malone. It was.
I
Oh,
think it was, yeah. I think
wait,
so.
hold on. I pulled up the wrong article. Give me a second. Okay, this is the one. Let me just pull this one up real quick. So, but yeah, Zaslav being told that he needs to think like an investor now. Yeah, John Malone. So, I guess while I pull this up, what's your thoughts on David Zaslav and how he's been doing?
I don't know, man. I really don't know. And it really does seem like that things aren't really going that well right now at WBD.
So it is John Malone, and he is Zaslav's mentor, and he says that. So he's kind of. So
Wait,
let's see where. So yeah, he's. I'm sorry, what you were saying?
I was gonna. Was there a certain part you want me to read? I'll read it.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm just looking. I'm just going down to the part right now. So I'm just kind of basically saying. So basically, he's talking about this compensation package when the deal closed, but then the shareholders, basically the shareholders rejected Zazov's pay. Isn't that funny?
Yep.
And then, let's see. So yeah, basically the shareholders reduced Zazov's pay, first of all. And then I'm trying to find the good part here, the part that I'm really interested in. And again, I don't want to get into the politics stuff, but okay, I'm just gonna cheat a little bit and just type in the word investor. Oh, this isn't the R. Okay, well, another fail by Bat Dan's thoughts, but thought there was something where he said Zazov needs to think like an investor. Maybe I pulled up the wrong article, but okay. So I'll try to look for the right article in post-production so that on replay, when people watch this, they'll see what I'm talking about. But basically, I did prove that John Malone is Zazov's investor. And he basically said that Zazov needs to start thinking like an investor. And no, I agree, Zod. I completely agree. But there was some good stuff in that article, too. Is that Zazov, his pay was cut. Okay? His pay was cut. They're not happy with him. And yes, he needs to think like an investor. This is the reality of Zazov, is that here, I'm just going to slightly edit this topic real quick, but just while I do that, what are your thoughts, TheCurlyRay?
Well, all I really can say about Zaslav is I don't think he should have took this position. That's all I could say.
I agree, because here's the thing. You don't need years of experience to know that saying that somebody that fans have been asking for to come back and then having to reject that 2 months later is not a good look for your company. Okay? That you shouldn't need to have years of experience to know that. That's just common sense. And exactly, but the fact is, people are not happy with Zazov's work. They're not happy with Zazov's pay. They're not happy with what he's done, because here's the thing. We can blame Gunny Poo all we want, and I do believe it's all his fault. But here's the thing: Zazov chose to hire him. Okay, I know it was like Peter Safran, but he demanded Gunny Poo to join him. Zazov approved that. Zazov approved a guy who's still a Marvel director as the head of DC. Zazov approved Cavill announcing he was back as Superman. Zazov approved going back on that 2 months later. Zazov could have told Gunn, hey, look, I know you want to do your own thing, and we're really excited for this, but we already had Henry Cavill announce he was back as Superman. We have to pay that off somehow. So how about we just do ZSHL 2 and 3 as an Elseworld, and then you can do your own thing. Zazov could have done that. He could have told Gunn that. He chose not to.
Yep.
He could have said, hey, look, we're not going to interfere with you too much going forward, but at the start, we do kind of need to pay off some of these other projects that were established before you took the position. He could have done that. He chose not to.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I was thinking about this. I don't know how old Zaslav is, and I don't want to go all on to him, but I definitely have a feeling that somebody within that studio is probably pulling the strings, but that's just what I think.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I just realized something. Hey, go on. Sorry. Go on, actually.
Yeah, that's all cool. But yeah, because Zaslav, because he came from Discovery, if I'm correct.
Yes.
And he may not really know how to run a movie studio, because you have Discovery that's more about life shows, people with houses and ghost adventures, traveling world, paranormal activity and all that. But a film studio, I just don't know if he knew what he was going in for, man. I just don't know.
Well, I think the thing is he had DeLuca to advise him, which was good. He should have stayed listening to him. He didn't. And because you're right. You're exactly right. He doesn't have experience with this. And maybe he was the wrong guy for the job. And maybe Zaslav should just listen to the people who are already there, like DeLuca. So, okay. So I was looking for the word investor. He doesn't say think like an investor. He says think like a shareholder. Okay. My apologies, people. But yeah. And then to address, stockholder feedback. So that's the thing. Malone is telling Zaslav he needs to think like a shareholder. Because that's the thing. Do you think shareholders care about excuses that why the film didn't make money? Do you think they care about that?
They don't care about the excuses, but they care about how much money the movie made. And if they know it didn't do well, then they know that it's a big problem for the studio.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Because if you're a major shareholder of the company and you're like, oh, hey guys, sorry, Superman didn't make money, but it got trusted to the DC brand, and you're gonna make money, but you're gonna make money a little bit later now. How does that mean? Do you want to hear that as a shareholder? Oh, you're not gonna make money now, but you'll make it later. You lost money now, but you're gonna make it later. Don't worry.
Like, I promise we'll make more money, and then you end up not doing it. You think they're going to trust you? You think the shareholders are going to trust you?
Oh, investor and shareholder. Okay, I guess technically they are different. Okay, I think of shareholder as an investor, but I don't necessarily think an investor is a shareholder. It's like all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. I think all shareholders are investors, but maybe not all investors are shareholders. But anyways, exactly. You're right though. You're right. You're exactly right. And this is what I'm saying though. Shareholders want to make money now. The paying customers told the shareholders what we wanted. They chose not to listen. And the shareholders are probably thinking, why didn't we go with Henry Cavill? Fans were asking for this. We had him. Why did we go back on this? Because that's the thing. Shareholders only care about the bottom line, and that's money. They're not getting it right now.
Because Zaslav I feel like he's easy. He's like really easy to manipulate. That's all I can say.
No, I could see that. I could totally see that. And he is very easy to manipulate. And because he makes stupid ass decisions. Like there is no way that a smart person was like, okay, investors hold stock. Oh, okay, shareholders hold stock. Okay, guys, I was not a finance major, so sorry. I was a business major, but I was studying marketing and business analytics, not finance. So, okay. I mean, the fact that his DC film flopped should have already been a sign, and the fact that his advisor is saying this, that's a really bad sign. That his mentor is saying that. I'm like, could you imagine if like Obi-Wan criticized Anakin Skywalker, hashtag justice for fives, if Obi-Wan publicly criticized Anakin Skywalker all the time to everyone? That would not
Oh,
be a good look. Well, bad
yep.
example, he becomes Darth Vader. He becomes Darth Vader, though. That's a bad example, because he actually should have been criticized. But if Anakin criticized, like, did you ever watch the Clone Wars, TheCurlyRay?
I've seen all of it, including the movie.
Okay. Could you imagine if Anakin took the stance, his Padawan Ahsoka, so he's Ahsoka's mentor. If he publicly took the stance that Ahsoka bombed the Jedi Temple, if her mentor is saying this, wouldn't that be wouldn't you look at that? Wouldn't people look at that a lot more funny?
Yeah, they probably wouldn't believe it because Ahsoka is Anakin's Padawan.
Mm-hmm. And again, justice for fives. Always got to shout fives out, but yeah, I agree, Zod. I agree. So the fact is, and now again, obviously Zaslav didn't do or allegedly do anything that extreme, but the whole point is, here's his mentor making a public stance against him, even if it's a criticism. Because here's the thing: mentors do criticize, but they don't do it publicly. They'll sit Zaslav down and be like, "Hey, Zaslav, look, he's publicly doing it. That's not a good look." So
Yep.
it's just, yeah. So again, not too much to say about this other than just another sign of bad things to come. But he is thinking like a shareholder maybe with this sale. So we all know that there's a split with WB, right? I guess it's now Warner Brothers Streaming and Studios and Discovery Global Networks. That's what the two companies are right now. They like changed the names because it's now Discovery is going to be Discovery Global Networks. It's no longer, I don't even remember what the other company was. Anyways, though, the fact is there's already a split happening. And now the Warner Brothers Streaming and Studio aspect is potentially being sold right now. So let me just pull this up real quick. And I'll pull up your comment later. So WB planned network spinoff entity already intact to sell 20% of its stake in studio sibling. So 20%, they're already selling 20% of the studio and the parent company in some as position of parent Warner Brothers. Streaming service HBO Max, exec confirmed. So basically they're saying we could, God, I hate when I do that. Okay. They want to get full value for it. Yeah, obviously there's a whole debt issue. But yeah. So currently he'll leave the streaming and studio as CEO. And then another company will get Global Networks. Discovery Global Networks, I didn't have it corrected me on. But yeah, they're looking to sell 20% of the studio spinoff already. Like I'm not gonna lie. When the split happened, when the split was announced where Warner Brothers and Discovery were splitting, where Discovery was getting all the debts, basically, and Warner Brothers was just gonna be a movie studio, basically. It was smart. It was smart in a very evil way, I will say. Is that basically, you made the company more valuable, but less valuable at the same time. You made it less valuable money-wise. Like now it's not worth as much stock-wise. So another company can buy it for cheaper, but at the same time, you took away all the assets that people don't really want. Like, let's be honest. Do people really care that much about CNN or Discovery? No, they probably don't. They probably care more about the Warner Brothers IP like DC, Harry Potter, Rick and Morty, because I think they own Rick and Morty. I think it's a Cartoon
Yes.
Network that the
It's
network
Adult
is.
Swim.
Well, so it's kind of weird with the split. So basically, it's like, when Disney bought Fox, it was like the Fox network remained separate, but they owned the Fox production company. So basically, from my understanding, is that Discovery gets Adult Swim, but like the shows from Adult Swim go to Warner Brothers. So like Rick and Morty will be with Warner Brothers. That's my understanding of it. And 20 potentially per quarter or annually. Okay. But the fact is, they're already looking at sales. They're already looking to sell this company. There's talks already coming out before the split even happened. I know it's only 20%, but that can turn into more later on. I mean, Disney only owned 30% of Hulu at first.
Yep, and they bought that, and they got the 30% left from Universal, and now they're literally fully merging Hulu into Disney Plus by next year, which Hulu is no longer going to be a thing. Not to get too off topic, but
It will be a thing. It just won't be an app. It'll be a part of Disney Plus, but you'll still have to get a separate Hulu subscription.
okay, all right. I didn't know if it was fully or not, but thank you for letting me know. Yeah, I can say that I do think that there is some type of sale that's probably going to be coming very soon. When it comes to getting the Cyberverse, for me, it's for the Cyberverse to be sold off to a third party platform like Netflix, which is what I'm going for. But in terms of this company being sold, I'm really hoping someone buys out this company and fires everyone. Like, maybe not everyone, but like everybody that has completely collapsed that company. And there needs to be new management that actually cares about their fans, and they need to start listening to them.
I agree. And now I guess supposedly right now the current rumor is Skydance / Paramount, because I know there was a merger there already, but now Paramount and Skydance will buy Warner Brothers. We'll see about that. I'm kind of hoping for Universal, honestly, because I want to see DC in their theme parks, because we need better theme parks here. We need better theming here than just Six Flags. I love Six Flags, but I need to see more theming than just painting the coasters Batman and Superman colors.
Well,
So,
they could license out because I know they got some Nickelodeon stuff at Universal. So
yeah. Oh, they absolutely could. But, like, if you own an IP, it's more likely to have it because then there's less restrictions.
yeah, it's
But
true.
And Netflix would also be another good choice. I mean, I want Netflix for the Snyderverse itself, but in terms of DC afterwards, I'm rooting for Universal in that regard. But at the end of the day, though, here's the thing: no matter what happens with this sale, it sells ZSJL to Netflix, sells Snyderverse to Netflix, because we thought Discovery would be our savior, and it wasn't. So
Yep.
we're not waiting for another merger to happen. I mean, now if Netflix buys Warner Brothers, then maybe we can talk about hashtag changing. And that's only if Netflix buys Warner Brothers, because obviously you're not going to say sell Snyderverse to Netflix if Netflix already owns it.
Yep.
But other than that, oh boy, people are gonna clip this and be like, "Oh my God, Batman said change the hashtags. Look, we're gonna clip Batman, that one part of Batman's segment right there." But anyways, I don't know. What's your thoughts on this potential 20% sale, or just maybe a sale in general?
Yeah, I it's kind of like what I said. I think there is some sale coming, but in terms of like who will buy it out, honestly, if I were to say if I would prefer, if I had to choose which company would buy WB in terms of like, I would probably say Universal for like the theme parks. Or to me, it don't really matter. But I'm like kind of on that page where you're on where you can get like the theme park rides and you could even get the you can get more than that as well. But other than that, I really don't care who acquires. Well, I don't want Disney to buy them. I do not want Disney to buy WBD. But
Yeah, he's not Disney.
but I mean, Universal. Well, here's the thing about Universal. Christopher Nolan's there,
Yeah,
and you got Paramount, which is cool. But other than that, I really, I don't know. I don't care who acquires the company. Just start. Whoever acquires it, just listen to the fans. I could really care less of who buys it. Just start listening to the fans. That's all I could say.
yes, exactly. I 100% agree with you. Is that just listen to the fans. Just listen to the fans at the end of the day. Now we'll see again. Right now they're saying 20%, and oh, okay. Well, yeah, I know Skydance. You're right. Paramount. Well, like Skydance bought Paramount, I think, is what it was. Paramount Sky. So I don't know. All these mergers are getting really confusing, honestly. It's like this company buys this company, buys this company. It's like all these companies keep merging, and it's like how many companies are going to be left soon? But yeah, right now it's just 20%. We'll see if it becomes more. Probably will. But the fact is, just going off speculation alone, they're already talking about WB selling. And it's funny because Mikey Sutton even said this was Zaslav's plan from the beginning, to flip WB to make it more manageable for another sale.
Yep.
And I'm not touching simulation theory on this channel. I did. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree, Zod. I mean, I would say that if Disney is allowed to buy Warner Brothers, someone on the FTC got paid. I'm just going to say that. The only way that that merger gets approved is that if Disney pays the FTC. So, but I don't know. I'm taking all speculation out of this. What's your thoughts of just them mentioning that they're already selling Warner Brothers? They're already looking to sell at least part of Warner Brothers before the split even happened.
Man. So, before that, okay, my bad. Yeah, it's crazy how, this company is still, they say, "Oh, these movies that they're releasing are doing very successful." I mean, there's some movies that they're releasing that are doing successful, but yo, this this movie that just came out from them that they claim to be really successful, if it's really doing successful, then why are they still looking to sell the company?
Mm-hmm.
Because back when the trailer released, their stock dropped.
Yep.
And it sounds like the company continues to collapse, and these next few movies aren't gonna do well for them. That's all I could say about that.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. The fact that this company is they're already talking about selling the company at the end of the day, it's not a good look. 20%, everything, who knows? But the fact is, successful companies don't get sold as much unless some other company really wants it, but they're not going to be out on the market. So it's just it's sad. It's sad that it has to come to this, but this is what happens when companies make poor choices. That's the consequence of a company's poor choice. Uh, okay. Yeah, I okay. Well, point is, if I mean FTC is still involved one way or the other. I kind of agree. I have a feeling that well,
Yep.
it's kind of like the whole thing with the split. He made the company less valuable, but in a way made it more valuable for buyers. He took out all the stuff that they don't want, took all the debt out, but still made the stock low enough that another company could come in and just buy what they want. Because here's the thing: Warner Brothers' most valuable asset is their IP at the end of the day, not the people involved in it, the IP. That's what's valuable. That's what the companies want. So it's. I mean, I think Warner Brothers has some of the best IP out there. I'm not going to lie. It's just the people in charge of it suck. That's why I'm planning to. But that's why, even though despite that, I'm still planning on going to a theme park that celebrates Warner Brothers IP. Won't say too much about that now because that's over a year away. But yeah. Anyways, Scott.
Oh, I did not know
Okay.
that.
Yeah, and again, I'm not. I'm not saying this is true, guys. This is what Sin Havoc is saying. I'm not going to promote. No,
Mm-mm-mm.
nope, nope, nope. It it's actually a good thing. I'm not going to say it because if I'm not able to go, I don't want to get people's expectations up high. So, but there is a really good theme park I'm looking to go to. Let's just say that. It has nothing to do with Gunny Poo. Gunny Poo is not affiliated with this. But anyways, I want to talk about something else right now. Man of Tomorrow, fast tracked. I mean, aren't you so excited? TheCurlyRay, we've been campaigning. Make Man of Tomorrow. Hashtag make Man of Tomorrow. Like, we've been fighting for Man of Steel 2. We've been fighting for this movie for so long, and now we're actually getting a Man of Tomorrow. I can't believe it.
What?
What?
What is that? That ain't this ain't Man of Tomorrow. This is Man of Flops.
Is the money laundering actually public information? Because if I don't have a link to that, that's something definitive. I'm not treating it like public information. Ezra Miller being a PDF was also public information, but that turned out not to be true. So I'm just saying, as much as I hate Zaslav, I don't want to treat something as fact that's not fact. So, anyways. Oh boy, that would be Jan. And Sin Havoc, I'll actually DM you what I'm talking about. I'll DM you privately after this stream. But anyways, Man of Tomorrow is the sequel to Superman, to James Gunn's Superman. Not actually a sequel, but the next film in the Superman saga that Superman has a very important role in. Okay, it's not a Superman movie, but you're calling it Man of Tomorrow. Really? I'm supposed to I'm really supposed to believe that you didn't just take the name of a fan-made campaign for Henry Cavill's solo sequel. I'm supposed to believe that you totally didn't do that to steal engagement from the Snyder fans.
Look, I want to say this, like, to everyone telling us, like, hey, the Cyberverse is dead, move on. Like, y'all keep telling us to move on when your favorite director can't move on from Zack Snyder's fandom.
Exactly. Exactly. And just to address this real quick, I'm not saying I don't believe you, Sin Havoc. I'm saying that I don't want to say it as fact just because I don't want to be liable, and I don't want to be a hypocrite when I defend other people. That's all I'm saying. Personally, I believe you. I'm just not treating it like fact on this channel, is all I'm saying. But anyways, go on.
Yo, because, like, the fact that he's titling this movie Man of Tomorrow, there's no coincidence, bro. Like, he is really. Gunn is really. This is literally a fire at our fandom. Like, 100%. Like, he is literally taking something from us, the fans, and trying to combine it with this stuff. Acting like, oh, look what I did, guys. I'm just like, yo, you literally just took something that the Snyderverse fans were, bringing out for Zack Snyder's Man of Steel 2. This would have been a dope title for Man of Steel 2, but it ain't going to really fit in well with this new Superman. Well, they call it a Superman movie, saying, oh, it is. It's not. It's just like, this whole DCU is really confusing, and I really don't know. I really don't think it's going to survive. That's all I could say. I really don't think this movie's ever going to come out.
Oh yeah, exactly. And actually, in Havoc and Zodrider are saying stuff I'm going to pull up later because that's going to get into my point that I'm going to make. But yeah, I totally agree with what you said. He did this just to steal just to steal engagement. It's like why Gunny Poo changed the title of Superman Legacy to Superman, so that all hashtags about Superman would go to his movie. And it's the same thing. Fans have been asking for Man of Tomorrow, referring to Henry Cavill's second solo sequel, and Gunny Poo is calling it Man of Tomorrow. He's taking a nickname for Superman in a film that's not a Superman movie. I guess maybe it's more about Lex Luthor, but it's just, again, it's totally baiting. That's exactly what he's doing, and that's just the reality of that situation. Okay, yes, I know it's a common nickname for Superman, but but he could have done any title, and he chose that one. So, and yes, I know Sin Havoc. Yeah, he did the same thing to Supergirl too. It's gonna be called Woman Tomorrow. Now it's just called Supergirl. But here's the thing: it's coming out. I think they're already beginning production this summer for a 2027 release date. And Zodwriter is bringing up a great point. Zodwriter and Sin Havoc are bringing up great points. They greenlit this because they are desperate, and Gunn knows his contract isn't being renewed next year.
Yeah.
Interesting. Like Hamada. It's funny. I saw a certain someone who was all about saying when Hamada was greenlighting crap that his contract wasn't being extended, so he's just trying to greenlight projects so he can get points. And now he's all like, "Oh, they're fast tracking they're fast tracking the next Superman movie. Their contracts are probably being renewed." Yeah, shill much, but anyways, exactly. They're greenlighting crap that never happens. Gunn's contract expires next year because here is the thing. What they are doing, what is very obvious, they're fast tracking this project because Gunn is writing and directing this project. He wants this project filmed before he is axed, before he is out of here, because he will still get points on the project. He will still get producer credit, even if they get another director, even if he will still get paid as a director, even. Like, he wants to get this project out so he can get some points, so he can get money after he's gone. So that maybe he'll get fired as a studio head, but not as a director. That's what he is hoping for. That is so people saying, like, oh, they greenlit the project because Superman was successful. No, he greenlit the project because Gunn has final say in greenlighting projects, and he wants to get this rushed so that he can get it out of there. Because didn't Gunn say that he only greenlights projects with finished scripts?
Well, as fast as he finished that script a few days ago, y'all can't convince me that he didn't use ChatGPT to write the script for him.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I wouldn't be surprised if the script wasn't actually done yet. He's just saying that because it's his project, so he wants to greenlight it. So that's what I'm like. That's what I'm saying. Like people think it's like good news for the DC studios that the project was greenlit. Nope, nope. But actually, you know what? I kind of spoil the topic actually because this is basically what does this mean for DC studios? Basically, DC studios probably is going to be kaput soon. It's going to be either kaput or under new management. Because what's going to happen is they're fast tracking this project because James Gunn is going to be let go. Like his Superman did not do well. Peacemaker season 2 did not do well. Creature Commandos did not do well. So they're not going to fire James Gunn. They're going to not extend his contract. That is what they're going to do. So the fact that this Superman movie is being fast tracked is proof of that.
Yep.
And
oh, you're gonna say something?
No, go on.
Yeah. So my thoughts on like the future. Oh, my thoughts on what this could mean for DC Studios. Like, I don't know what's going on because it feels like they had. Because last time I checked, they had like a whole slate for DCU Gods and Monsters. What happened to that? I mean, we had Creature Commandos. We got this. We had Superman Legacy. Oh wait, the child changed. And then the rest. What even happened to it? Like, where's it all at? Does it mean anything? What's the Superman family saga? Where happened to Gods and Monsters all of a sudden? Like, what's with all the changes? Like, why aren't y'all sticking to y'all's original plan? Like, I'm very curious of what's going on.
Yes, exactly. I mean, for those who don't know, I went to get water, but I listened to what he was saying on my own YouTube chat, like watching it on YouTube. But anyways, yes, yes. And I agree with you, Zod. But like the whole point, we don't even have a whole slate. Like so much of the slate is not happening right now. And it's Supergirl. The only other project that's coming out, we were getting Supergirl, Green Lantern, and the Lantern Show. Everything else has been kind of kaput right now. Okay, we're getting Matt Reeves' Batman Part 2, but not Gunny Poo's Batman Brave and the Bold, or just called Brave and the Bold.
And the Batman Part 2 hasn't even started filming yet.
But I guess there's a script for it, but there's more, I'll say this, there's more talk about that script than there is the other stuff, so...
True! Exactly, man. Exactly.
So, I wouldn't be surprised. And, yeah, so basically, to me, this is not good for DC Studios. The fact that they're fast-tracking this project so much means that he's trying to get this out because Gunny Poo knows that he's on borrowed time. That's the expression. He's on borrowed time at this point. So it's not a good look, right? It's not a good sign for DC Studios right now. That's just the reality of the situation. I know people want to look at this like, oh no, they're building trust with the brand. No, they're not. Because what happens when Clayface comes out and flops? What happens when Supergirl comes out and flops? Or even make like a minor budget, maybe like a moderate success, but not a success enough of a success. What do you think happens? What do you actually think happens? Nothing. Like,
yep.
or they're nothing good. Is that the company's going to get sold and Gunny Poo's going to get let go? They're not. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a sale, especially if a sale happens. Because here's the thing: when mergers happen, I think it was Dwayne Johnson who said, "When you take over, when you buy a team, not my coach." Universal Tech comes in. They're going to say, "Not my DC Studios head." They're going to want their own people in charge, or Paramount, or Skydance. Whether it's Skydance, whether it's Universal, whether it's Netflix, whether it's Disney. I pray to God it's not that last one. They're going to want their own people in charge, not Gunny Poo. They're going to want Gunny Poo out the door because other companies want to make money. Here's the thing. When Zaslav bought Warner Brothers, he bought the company to try to flip it. This next company, when they buy it, they're going to buy it to make money. Gunny Poo's not making money, and he knows that. So the fact is, this is not good. None of this has been good for DC Studios. If the only success that DC Studios has is Elseworld projects, you can't even give Gunny Poo credit for that. The Batman was already a franchise before Gunny Poo got the job. So you can't even give him credit for that one. So no. I guess, what are your other thoughts?
Oh, man. I think that's all I got for this part because I don't know. It just looks like it's hard for me to really trust the direction that they're taking with this because where's this? Where's that? This is canon. This is not. It's really confusing. It's not only confusing to me, it's going to be confusing to the general audience. And this right here, this is what I love about how Zack Snyder's Justice League isn't canon to all this and that the Snyderverse is its own IP is because they cannot touch the Snyderverse and try to convert their own different cans and all that and try to make a mess of it. You know? They can't,
100%.
they can't make ZSL canon to Peacemaker Season 2 and all that, like another film, but yeah. I don't know. Things don't look good at DC Studios, and it doesn't look exciting.
Exactly. And now this leads me to my next question. Is superhero fatigue real? So after everything we talked about, is superhero fatigue a thing? Are people just less interested in superhero movies? What are your thoughts?
I think that I think it's more of that people are sick and tired of content that ain't delivering quality. And I think people are tired of being thrown down on the bus, like I said, about, corporations not listening to the fans. I think people like superhero movies. They are tired of people trying to push certain agendas instead of just giving them what the fans want. That's all I could say about this.
Yes, exactly. I agree. I agree with what you're saying. People are tired of bad movies, and I'm glad you brought this up too, Sinhat, because quality versus quantity. I agree. Because if you make a movie people want to see, fans will see it. Deadpool and Wolverine, Spider-Man No Way Home. Those films did well because they were movies that people wanted to see. Man of Steel 2 would have done well because fans want Henry Cavill back as Superman. Listen to fans. This is the problem. These studios need to remember, fans are the paying customers. We decide what we want, okay? Not the influencers. Like, there is no other industry on the planet that would have, like, that we're just throwing direct shade at your customers would pass. In fact, it's actually not passing because it's failing, okay? So, like, could you imagine if, like, McDonald's was like, oh, yeah, our customers suck. You all customers, you all stink. No one would see it. No one would eat there. So why would I, like, this is the problem. I agree. It's quality versus quantity, but here's my other take. I don't think it's superhero fatigue. I think it's cinematic universe fatigue. Because Marvel has barely been successful after Endgame. Sure, they had No Way Home, they had Deadpool and Wolverine, and as much as I hate to say it, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but really, I think people are just tired of the cinematic universes because you get a singular vision, basically, and I think, it involves too much quantity of stuff. Because when you have too much quantity, the product fails to deliver. Because you can't, like, here's my thing. The Arrowverse. I think when it was just Arrow seasons 1 and 2, I think it was some of the best television out there. But then season 3 of Arrow happened, The Flash season 1 came out. They kind of put all their energy on The Flash, and then Arrow suffered as a result. Legends of Tomorrow and Supergirl came out. Now it's more shows. The Flash kind of did well for season 2, but these other shows, quality kind of sucks. And then all the shows, quality keeps going down. Quality keeps going down. Black Lightning, quality's going down. Batwoman, quality going down. The whole point is with the Arrowverse, once you got too many shows, the quality went down. And that's the problem with the cinematic universes. So you have all this quantity, but you don't have all the quality. And then it's so it's just, and that's what I say. It's like, it's just, at the end of the day, I don't even think superhero movie fatigue is real. I don't think superhero fatigue is real, honestly. I think it's just bad products. I think it's bad movies. I think it's the cinematic universe. And I think too, I think part of the problem is the homework is confusing. Is there's just too much homework involved in seeing a movie. Is like, look with Marvel. Now it's like you have to watch like all these 20 movies, these like 6 series for the next project to make sense. And I think that's a problem for a lot of the audience, for a lot of the general audience. And this move, and then DC, it's like you have to watch Peacemaker season 1, but you have to accept that not all of it's canon. But you have to also research what James Gunn is saying to understand, oh wait, no, it's mostly canon, but it's not all canon. It's stuff like that that people are tired of. It's what you said. I like what you said about the Snyderverse, is that you said that it's not canon. That means it's not a cinematic universe. It's its own thing. The Batman franchise, the Batman Epic Crime Saga, as they call it. Like, yeah, there's some spin-offs, but it's not like a whole cinematic universe. It's one series. Right now, it's just the Batman movie in one series.
This here is its own IP.
Exactly. And that's what the problem is. Making bad movies and giving us too much homework to do. That's what I think is affecting it. But if you didn't have all these superhero movies come out every year, I honestly think that people would still see them. Just make a movie that you think is good. Okay? It's that simple, guys. And listen to the fans. We're telling you what movies we will watch and give your money for. Listen, okay? Make money. Okay, stop. I think we kind of brought up the point. I actually don't think it's real. You don't think it's real. It's just bad movie quality. And for me, it's just the cinematic universe. I think the cinematic universe is a problem because at the end of the day, again, I think that having to watch all these other movies for this next one to make sense, it's too much effort to ask. Because, like, there's audience who have, like, kids, who have families, who don't have time for this. Like, we're nerds. We have more time for this stuff. But the general audience, they don't have time for that. So, yeah. No. This actually leads me to my next point, and let me just do a quick wardrobe change again. This one. But gotta put on, spoiler alert, I'm putting on my Netflix hat because this leads into what needs to happen next. So I agree, Sin Havoc. It is about the quality. I mean, I think, but this is what needs to happen because here's the big point, and here's the other point I'm making. Matt Reeves, the Batman franchise, has been a success. The Batman made a small amount of money. Penguin did really well. So that's what I'm saying. This is what needs to happen, in my opinion. And then I want to know your thoughts. I think, one, DC Studios needs to be dissolved. Completely dissolved. Get rid of it. Once that contract is over, don't even have DC Studios anymore. I don't think you need a whole separate studio for DC anymore because I just don't think there's enough of a demand for DC to have its own studio. I don't. I think DC Studios has done nothing but bad stuff, and I just don't think you want to have a certain amount of DC movies come out every year if you're not going to have that quality. This is what they need to do. Dissolve DC Studios. Continue with Matt Reeves' Batman franchise. Continue with that. Because I think that's been making them money. I hope the second one is better than the first one. And they need to sell ZSGL 2 and 3, and preferably the Batfleck movie, to Netflix. Let Netflix make those projects. And I think aside from that, I think Warner Brothers needs to take a break from DC. Because they need to take a break, do the projects that people want, just kind of close out those universes, to maybe get some trust in the DC brand. And hey, maybe, ZSGL 2 and 3 and Ben Affleck's The Batman are a success. Maybe license out more projects in the Snyderverse to Netflix, like a Cyborg series, or The Ayer Cut, or Man of Tomorrow, or The Real Man of Tomorrow. Wouldn't it be funny, though, if Man of Tomorrow's title was hijacked for a Henry Cavill sequel? I think that'd be really funny. Very poetic. But, I mean, Yeah, but it's only one series they'll send Havoc. It's not the same thing as like 10 different series and movies. And it's also being told you have to watch it too. Not just that you're watching. So, anyways, but that's what I think they need to do. Dissolve DC Studios, finish out the Batman Epic Crime Saga, license out the Snyderverse to Netflix, and then take a break from DC because DC's not making them money right now. It's not making them a lot of money right now. So they need to take a break, regroup, then maybe put out some DC movies, and then once it's a success, maybe form a new DC Studios. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
So I think they should the whole DC thing about taking on a break. I can definitely see where you're going with that because you have Batman and Robin, which literally almost killed DC films, and it literally took Christopher Nolan to get everyone hyped back up for DC films with Batman Begins. Um, Taking the like a completely break, I can definitely see you're going with there. I will say taking a break from it entirely though for like maybe 8 to 10 years, I would say I can kind of disagree on that cuz I do think that we need to see a Batman Beyond animated movie that was supposed to come out from the people that did the Spider-Verse movies. Um I think
Let me
maybe doing small. Oh, what's up?
finish what you're saying, and then I'll get back to what I was going to say.
Okay, so yeah, they could do like these small little projects, not like big projects, but like these small projects maybe for, television or animation. In terms of live action, it just really depends on what they want to bring out. I can see the live action side of things, but from DC completely, um I think they would still need to make like, animated stuff, but in terms of live action, um, I can kind of see that. But yeah, that's all I have to say from what you said. But I do want to hear what you had to say.
Yeah, so maybe not like when I say a break, I mean like maybe not like still do some projects once in a while, like the Batman saga, license out the Snyderverse, and yeah, do some animated series, and maybe do like an occasional standalone movie. What I mean more is like the mass DC, like doing all these movies for a cinematic universe. That's what they need to take a break from, in my opinion.
Yep.
So that's because that's not making them money right now. But I think like a Constantine 2 that they're talking about, maybe do that one still. I mean, there's still stuff they can do, but I'm just thinking right now, like the expectation that they need to do like 2 DC movies and a series every year. I think that's the problem with DC Studios right now. It's like if you have a whole nother studio, there's a certain amount of movies you need to have out a year. And I just don't think that they need to do that right now because DC's not making them that much money. I
Yep.
mean, if that happens in Havoc, then we'll talk about that in 10 to 20 years then. Okay. I mean, if the new buyers screw up, then I don't know. I mean, I think in 10 to 20 years, a lot of DC will be public domain by then. So I don't know. But I'm just talking right now. I think they need to take a break from doing like the whole cinematic universe thing. And I think they need to finish the Snyderverse, finish the Reverse, still do their animated series like they've done in the past, and maybe release an occasional movie because you still need to bring hype to the DC brand back. You still need to bring some hype back to the DC brand. So I'm sorry, when I say a break, I don't mean full on break. I mean like again, trying to do the whole cinematic universe. And then hopefully, and again, I never specified a time limit, just enough time till they feel like they actually have a real plan. That's all I'm saying. I
Yep.
mean, it could be 8 to 10
Exactly.
years. Maybe it could be 5 years. Maybe it could just be 2 years. I don't know. But the point is, they need to regroup. That's all I'm saying is that they need to regroup right now. And I think especially finishing all the Elseworld projects first, I think then that way there's no expectation to come in. You don't have to like, oh my god, we want the Snyderverse, we want the Reeveverse. It's like, well, those finished already. You can move on. Like when the DCU came out, the Nolan verse was finished. The Reeves verse was, I mean, Christopher Reeves verse. Okay, fair enough, Sin Havoc, fair enough. But the Donner verse was finished at that point. I mean, there were no outstanding cinematic universes at that point, and that's what I think DC needs right now. They need to properly close out their universes, properly close them out. Don't just discard them, close them out. And then, again, release occasional Elseworld projects, maybe even a Red Sun project starring Henry Cavill. Zack Snyder's The Dark Knight Returns. You could do that. There's so much potential they could do with minor projects. Just take a break from the cinematic universe because that's not working right now. And the Snyderverse is no longer a cinematic universe thanks to
Yep.
ZSJL being its own IP. So, any final thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I just, I do agree what you're saying, man. I think doing these full-on cinematic universes, I feel like not only DC, but I think Marvel needs to take a break from it too. I think
Oh,
Marvel
yeah.
needs to. I think that both these companies need to go back and do like Elseworld stories, like maybe do like a 3-movie trilogy of a Green Lantern or a 3-movie trilogy of the Flash, or something like that, or even do like a series on these characters, where you can just enjoy, these seasons where you don't have to, watch this or watch that for any canon reasons and all that, like not having these big nerdy canon universes. Just do something that's more Elseworlds for people to just enjoy. It's almost like it's kind of like this, I think because I love watching anime, and there's all different kinds of anime I love to watch. I've been watching Chainsaw Man. Or I have watched Chainsaw Man. I'm going to see the movie that's coming out next month. I've been watching Demon Slayer. I've been watching One Piece. They're all different, they're all these different stories you can explore. The problem about Marvel and DC is that they're trying to get to where, when it comes to their universes, that they're trying to focus on one story with multiple movies you have to watch. But with doing Elseworld stories, people have more stories to explore than just one big universe.
Yes, exactly. And who knows? Maybe after the break, they could do like that Green Lantern trilogy, and if it's a success, maybe then you can like build out some spin-offs and other characters and say it's in that universe. But don't just. I mean, they could even do that. Maybe I don't know, but what's. I'm just saying what they're doing right now is not working. So I agree. Just Elseworld stuff for now. Finish the Reverse. Finish the Snyderverse. Do a Constantine 2. Do Zack Snyder's The Dark Knight Returns. Just do some Elseworld projects for now. Keep the DC hype up because DC's one of their most valuable IPs. They need to keep the hype going for it. But I agree, what you said. Elseworld, you can tell multiple stories, and that's just what needs to happen at the end of the day right now. And then after at time, maybe then if you have a good plan for a cinematic universe, build it. But maybe if you have a 10-year plan, 10 years, and you stop. Okay, like if let's say you have someone else come in with a good 10-year plan, stop after that 10-year plan. Don't continue. Because when you try to continue after your initial plan, it fails. I mean, well, that's what happened. Yeah, I agree. Sin
Yeah.
Havoc. But it's just not working right now. So I just hope that that whoever buys Warner Brothers, that we can have a better future. Because here's the thing: after Cell happens, and Cell needs to happen. That's part of it too, guys. Have Cell happen so Netflix can finish the Snyderverse, give the fans the conclusion they're asking for, and you don't even have to produce it. You just make money off it. So at the end of the day, that's what needs to happen. So I hope that but after we get the Snyderverse, I really want DC to be a success on its own, not just from the Snyderverse, but everything. Because I love DC. I love the brand. And I really want to see it succeed.
Yep. I want to see it succeed too, man, because, because I really, it's sad to see that DC has been, in this mess for quite some time now. And I just think someone needs to come in and just, you know, there needs to be new people at these corporations and start listening to the fans.
End of the day. End of the day. So thank you for coming on, TheCurlyRay. It was really great having you on. Really great having this discussion. This was a discussion that needed to happen and something I needed to get off my chest. And I'm going to just say this real quick because I know people are asking because I was kind of vocal about this. Yes, I'm going to do a stream about some of this air cut stuff that came up because I know I kind of put a members chat in in Sky's stream last night, so I am going to do a stream covering that soon, okay? I do want to make sure you know that, but I really wanted to get this out first because I don't want to put too much in one stream. So, just want to get that out of the way. TheCurlyRay, what do you got coming up on Rebel Moon Theory?
Well, I do have some. I am currently behind the scenes working on some more videos for you guys. And I will go ahead and remind everyone, and I know it's September, but we will be celebrating the 2-year anniversary of Rebel Moon on December 22nd, 2025.
Cannot wait. I cannot wait. And again, thank you for everything you've done for Rebel Moon. You've really helped keep it in the conversation. You're a very important part of our fandom, and I was really glad to have you on to talk about this. Because like I'm gonna publicly say it. I've encouraged TheCurlyRay not to talk DC stuff on Rebel Moon Theory because he's an important voice for Rebel Moon, and we need that channel that really focuses on Rebel Moon. So I'm really glad you're able to come on this channel and talk some DC stuff. So thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it. Anything else you want to promote?
I do. This is already on my channel, but so Rebel Moon Bloodline just came out, and I did a entire walkthrough of the main story for Rebel Moon Bloodline. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna do some more because there are some more things I do want to play through the game when it comes to, like, the Bloodline missions and the Warzone missions. But as for the main story, I've done a whole walkthrough on my channel. You can check out the whole walkthrough through episode 1 to episode 11. The game is so good. If you haven't played it, please try it out. And if you also hadn't read Rebel Moon Nemesis, please read that. I think everyone that are fans of Rebel Moon should check that comic out. And I would say that's about it. And just wanted to bring out another reminder that we will be celebrating the 2-year anniversary of Rebel Moon on December 22nd.
I cannot wait. And this channel will definitely be promoting Rebel Moon at that time. So be on the lookout for that. I mean, again, it's going to come up sooner than you think. So just keep that in mind. But coming up on this channel, other than the Aircut stream, Sox and I are going to be reviewing the Spider-Man movies when they come out when they re-release in theaters. Not one because we already reviewed one, but the other two we'll review. So be on the lookout for that, and I'll be doing more stuff to promote Cell, more streams to promote Cell, definitely more streams to promote Rebel Moon. There's a lot of great stuff coming up on this channel, and I'm going to work on trying to get the content out more consistently. So be on the lookout for that. And guys, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more unique takes, interesting thoughts, and great discussions such as these. And on that note, any final words, TheCurlyRay?
Well, I'll be fast traveling to the other part of the galaxy.
Have a bat-tastic day.